It's the 20th Avenue podcast with your favorite podcaster, Dumisani Ncube. And joining me today is none but the multi-award winning Bekezela all the way from Zimbabwe. Yeah. Welcome to the 20th Avenue podcast, bro.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. It's always nice to have multi-award winning international artists in our studio. We feel like we're big now, we're also international.
Of course, it drops off, man.
Yeah,
it does. It does when it drops off.
Yeah. They say your network is your net worth.
Of course, it's true. Your network is your network at the end of the day. Hey?
For real.
I'm happy to be here, guys, and I love your hustle. I love your pushing.
Yeah.
Let's get on with this.
Yeah, let's get straight to business. So, how does a waiter, if I can put it that way, a waiter slash bricklayer in the streets of Joburg end up getting signed by Muthaland Records, producing a multi-award winning album which goes gold, if I'm not mistaken. How did this whole dream start?
Well, it's quite a great, and I can see that you really dug up. You are a true journalist, very dangerous. Okay, cool, man. I think those are the ingredients of success at the end of the day. I normally say the pain that we go through in trying to get through this business of life is self-inflicted because we are not aware what we are calling upon ourselves by dreaming. So when you dream of becoming a millionaire, the universe gives you exactly the path that the millionaire went through. If the millionaire became a waiter first and became a bricklayer and then fell up and 6 times and woke up 7 times, it means that if you say, I want to be a revolutionary president, to be remembered just like Mandela, you have to go to prison, for 27 years. So people don't really understand that by calling out the dream that you want, you are also calling out whatever atrocities that lie on the way of achieving that. So for me, basically, I really, so I left Zimbabwe in 2008 during the hardest economic times of our lives. Inflation was just, crazy, shooting crazy every day, that it did not even make sense to do anything other than because people just wanted food. You would go into your biggest shop and you'd find only water and brooms, let alone a music shop, let alone a guitar string, nothing. So I was like, okay, let me follow the sound of music. Really, I didn't know anyone in South Africa. I got onto the bus with my very old guitar and I just, I had faith. It just led me to where I was. Obviously, when I got to South Africa, there was no welcoming party. There was nothing laid down for. I was looking for Ringo. When I got to Polokwane alone, I was like, I've arrived. No, not even Polokwane, Messina. When we stopped for food, I was like, yay, I'm in South Africa. Only to drive for 9 more hours. I was like, okay, no, this place is big. Where do I even start looking for Ringo? So, which is why the manual jobs, my first job was actually cleaning a hotel, 20 floors, taking dustbins down to the basement. One day when I was taking the dustbins down to the basement, you know what? I hear sound coming from one of the funny dodgy places there in the basement, and guess what? It was a studio.
Wow.
That's where I met my first producer of 10 years now, Babin Senga. So all of those things that you're asking, I was picking up along the way. So I've been a car washer, I've been a trench digger, I've been a waiter, in the quest to becoming that. So obviously when I wrote my hit song in Bekezela, it was in 2011 when I was digging a trench. And afterwards, we felt it was a good song, it was a hit, but we didn't know where to take it. We didn't know how to put it out there. And then when we, years later, fast forward, now I was hungry for that because I kept on seeing artists who I grew up with on the streets. Zahara, for one, used to play her guitar in Newtown, just walking about looking for places. Bonati came from, Emakaya, as Lalini and whatnot, and they were coming and they were making it. I was like, I want that formula because obviously I do have the talent, I do have the ambition, I do have the drive. I have everything. Now I just need the resources. So I started searching for those resources. I mean, I remember Berita would come and pick me up from News Cafe. And she will drive around to these record labels. We went to Mabala Noise, went to Ambitious, and they'll be like, we'll get back to you, things like that. I mean, I remember serving Mosquito a meal, and after he paid his bill, I ran, after him when he left. I was like, hey, Oscar, I was the one serving you. Can you please sign me up, man? It's like, what do you do? I'm like, no, I sing, I do Afro soul. It's like, I'm not pushing quite, Tatambo music, internet. Then people, if it's good enough, people will follow it. And I was like, yeah, but you signed to Makuma. I was like, yeah, that was different.
Yeah. But
so those are the struggles that I've had to go through and endure.
All right. So coming back to Mosquito a bit before I ask more questions, why didn't you use that homeboy card? Because you're from Bulawayo, he's from Bulawayo. Why didn't you say Baba?
Well, it doesn't work really with Mosquito. I mean, he's never come out publicly, and he always maintains his mother side of things that he's from. I don't know where he says he's from. Where I don't know where he says he's from. Where his mother is from. So he actually plays that card. So he never comes out publicly and say, I'm a black boy. It was gonna even make things worse, to say, hey, I'm a homeboy. I'm from. I mean, he knew every waiter. I mean, he owns a restaurant. You go to South Africa, you won't find a South African as a waiter. Forget, because that industry is so gruesome. We had one or two local, but in my entire working at News Cafe, we had one girl, she didn't even last. She worked for only a year and she left and she quit. So it's only Zimbabwean. So he knew probably that a guy who's a waiter and has the guts to follow me outside and ask me to help him, it means he's a hustler. He's there for a reason, and that can only be a Zimbabwean.
So coming back now to the time when you're working at a hotel, you hear some sound playing in a studio. You record your first song, Bekezela.
Well, it wasn't exactly the first song, Bekezela. I mean, I had, I was still very low. When I say I'm very low, I was very young. I later on grew up to realize that music is about maturity as well. So to really sing something that will sound and stay in people's hearts, you have to sing your experiences. You understand? So when you are like, say 19, 20, 21 as a guy, what do you know about love really? So back then I was still young and I was still writing songs like, I didn't even know what it means. So those are the songs that I was doing. It was only when I was working as a trencher at the dig, I think that was because I started working with Babi in 2008. Then 2009, 10, it was in 2011, when I was actually digging a trench along William Nicole Drive in Bryanston for an electricity cable, big one called an HT. And this melody hit me so hard. It hit me so hard that I froze and put my pick and shovel on the ground and took out my old phone, unwrapped it from the plastic and I recorded the melody. When I got home, I was like, let me do some soul searching here. What is it that is in my heart? What is it that is constantly bugging me, that I want to talk about? And at the time, I was in a long-distance relationship and I was missing my girl. And to make matters worse, she was insecure because someone sent her some pictures of South African-looking girls. I'm a yellow bone. And she was like, you know what, this guy is gone. So every time I called her every day, and she would always be like, no, when are you coming back? And I was like, Bekezela. Shova malanga kuphela unyaka. Ubona isithando sami, uma ungekho la eduze nami isikhathi ngathi asihambi izinto azenzeki, Thixo busisa leli langa lapho ewela khona ezandleni zami ngoba nguwe kuphela okwaziyo ngizomenzana umntana abantu. Well, you have to work hard there to put the subtitles, like, what was this guy saying?
Nah, can't you?
And at the end of the day, it was like really easy because I didn't write a song. I wrote her a letter. I wrote her a message. I sent her a message that was really sincere. And I called my producer, Papi, I've written a song. He says, come into the studio. I mean, it took us only 10 to 15 minutes because for 2.5 years to, 2008, 9, 10, 3 years rather, we had now grown to understand each other, understand our formula and feel each other. And he knew that that was a hit. So it just, when I played my guitar, I played his keys, a hit was born. Immediately, wherever we would play that song, people would be like, this is a beautiful, beautiful, track.
All right, before we continue with the track, I'm just curious. So, where is this pretty young
I'm not going to answer that. Rest. But anyway, the hit is always in my music. If you listen to my songs, there's songs like Sondela, there's songs like Siya Shadi, so there's songs like, so the hit is somewhere there. There's songs like Nyalo, so the story is hidden behind there.
It's hidden behind.
So I don't want to let it all out now because then the whole excitement will just die out.
Okay, we'll keep on watching the movie. All right, coming back to the song now. Yeah. You're saying you recorded the song between 2009 and 2010.
I recorded it in 2011 exactly.
2011.
Yes.
So the song plays, it receives like a few airplays and stuff like that.
Yeah, not really. It just grew underground. Remember, we didn't know anyone. We didn't even know where to take it, which radio to take it. But I think 2012, then I met up with a guy called Stehr. He's now the deputy chairperson of ECO, Association of Independent Record Labels. So he was my first manager. He's the guy who then made the song really popular, but he was only limited to Mpumalanga. So the first station to only play our song was Ikwekwezi FM, and in Mpumalanga, and he played it for 4 years. So the whole of Mpumalanga was a star, but people didn't know who I was or how I looked like. You understand? So the struggle was real. I mean, it didn't change much of my life because I didn't have gigs. I couldn't be booked because they don't know who I was. But my song would play. I remember one time I was in a taxi, and the song played. I couldn't even tell people that
that's me.
It's my song, and they wouldn't have believed me anywhere and anyhow. So the struggle continued after 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16. So in 2016, that's when I sat down with God and I said, God, this is not working out for me. If you really want me to continue in this game of music, give me a sign. I'm hanging my guitar, figuratively and literally. And I remember I did not close my eyes, I did not pray. I spoke to him like he was seated here with me. That's how bad things was. I mean, I was behind 2 months with rent, there was no food, and I had a big song. So I was like, you know what, God, I'm going to look for a job. And God asked me, what job? Because you don't have any much experience besides your manual jobs. So I listed only 3 companies that I could possibly go to, and I scratched the 2 and remained with one, which was News Cafe, because I used to go there to sell my CDs to waiters. And one of my friends, Esakula Sonke Ekaya, had now been promoted to a manager. So I was like, Lawrence, please, man, hook me up with a job. He's like, what? Are you serious? You're a big artist. I even brag to the waiters that I've got a brother who sings the song Bekezela, because everyone knew the song. And I was like, I'm serious, man. And so he's like, okay, it won't be easy, and I won't go easy on you. First 2 days was easy because I was in the kitchen, learning the menu, learning how to cook. I love cooking. I always say creativity, if you're a creative person, making music and cooking are the same. They share the same fundamentals, So I enjoyed that. The hardest part was the bar, because now I don't drink. And I only knew one kind of beer, which was Castle Light. Now I had to know imported beers, I had to know local beers, I had to know flavored beers, then go, to wines, go to champagnes, and then go to whiskeys, then go to bourbons, then go to gins, then go to vodkas, and there's hundreds of types, and but I soldiered on. I never gave up, and after that I wrote a 3-hour entry test. Yes, at News Cafe you write a 3-hour entry test. And I passed it, and now the real, struggle began, because now, even so, you've passed, you've given a uniform, start working. There's no salary. You make your money from tips, and you will see your boys, Bruce, Chakanyuka, running around, shorter boys, running around, going out home with 3,000 rand on a weekend, and you're going home with 300 rand after working double shifts. So I had to ask one of them, hey man, how do you do this? How do you always get the proper clients who buy bottles? And this one said to me, I'll never forget Brighton. He says, yeah, Bekezela to as a customer, because the shoe never lies. So, and then being a waiter then taught me all the fundamentals that I needed to learn about the industry, about the games. Like God was preparing me, because I only worked for a year. Yeah. That was 2016 to 2017. And then I got a call that changed my life. I was actually from a double shift, tired, sleeping at 11 a.m. And this call wakes me up. And the guy on the other side of the line said, hey man, my name is Muthaland and I heard your song. And in my mind I was like, so what? It's like, yeah, man, we want to who's pushing you? It's such a big song. I was like, no one. It's like, are you sure? Can we meet? I'm like, yeah, when? It's like, now. I'm like, no, I can't meet you now. I mean, I've got to go to work. I've got a shift. It's like, wait a minute, you've got to work. So you work? I said, yes. Where? News Cafe Santin. What do you do? I'm a waiter. Now the more reason they wanted to meet me, so he went and told. So Sipo is actually the publisher and an artist manager, and so he went and told the boss Lance. Lance was he was like, I love stories. Let's meet this guy. So on a Thursday, on my off day, I met these guys, and when I walked in, I find a mural, with Abosola, Mapaputsi, Abo pitch black afro, Abo Bekezela, and I'm a gold black hat, I'm a silver and platinum and double platinum, and then Vusinova walks by, I'm like, wait a minute, like, where am I, and then Ntando is there, I'm like, okay, wait a minute, is this like, Nati is here, I'm like, whoa, man, like, is God playing tricks with me, and I can tell you that what I failed to achieve in 10 years after handing it over to God that day when I spoke to him, he made me aware that if he is in the mix, so he did in just 1 year, I'd achieved what I failed to achieve in 10 years.
So that was a training ground.
That was in 2017.
Yeah.
And so they said to me, no, we're interested in the song Bekezela. We want you to do the song Bekezela. Take a 2 weeks leave from work and go back into the studio and re-record Bekezela. And now I was given all the resources that they use. Bovusi use. I was in the same studio that Bovusi use, given the same band, same privileges, the quality of the sound, So I called my producer Papi. I said, you won't believe it, man. This is where we are. And Papi came running. Now he was working with a desk the size of a car. And we were happy, man. We were happy because finally, justice was being served. We were now able to showcase our talent and skill and knowledge and relationship in a more fair environment and a leveled playing field. But then my condition was that I don't want to do Bekezela, I want to do an album. And they laughed at me. They said, dude, it has taken Ntando a whole year to finish his album. We're giving you 2 weeks. So there's no way, it's impossible for you to do a full album. In 3 days, at Papi's bedroom studio, we programmed 10 songs. Wow. With backing vocals and everything. And Lance had one of them called Siya Shadisa that I sang in 5 languages. And he was like, here's a budget. Go and do it. So, and I mean, in a week, I was done recording, and the other week, then was mixing and mastering. And but guess what? I never went back to work because after that, I started getting busy. I started ukuvela manje kubosela mathunzi, and then I started, and then my album was bought by Musica before it was even finished recording. When Bekezela was still a demo, we sent it to George Munetzi, who was still at Kaya FM, and he's like, my producers love this. We are playing it now. We are closing the show. Like, yeah, but it's not yet mastered. Like, forget it. We are playing it, and he started playing. So for me to see myself where I've always wanted to be, and Muthaland was so kind to me, because they were really, managing me. For the first time I got to a place where they were like, hey, let's carry your guitar. Forget about the rest. You understand? We'll drive you. Just focus on your music and do you. And I'll be picked up and dropped at interviews. Some interviews were in the morning. And I remember very much that was around March. Yeah. So April, May, June, July, we're pushing. August, we launch. So we launched both Ntando's album, Maibuye, and my album, Bekezela, at on the same day. Wow. And then from there, wherever Ntando performs, I'm slotted in. So I started performing in big festivals. Like I remember that end of the year, I was booked at Dickinson Park rather, in Ekurhuleni. I couldn't believe the lineup. I was headlining with Sahara, Keifa Semenya, Oliver Mtukudze, Ringo, Zonke, and Lira, and then Bekezela. Like, I was there, like my face was there, dog, like full band, and and the fact that people knew the song Bekezela. So it was shocking a lot of people because when I walked in on stage, they were like, it's a new artist whom we don't know. Yeah. And when I go like, well, don't be we were like, that's it. So that's the guy we've been looking for. And, then we started things started happening really. And I started really making money now, I started moving from a hill pro, now to, to a West Dean, now I had a house that did a remote
an electric gate.
Like when you come in, so and then you drive in and, got my first car, which I still keep today because it's so fuel economic. It's a Hyundai Atos. And very fuel economic in that car, like I would leave all the other cars and take it, especially if I have to do my rounds. But again, I think I'm still attached to the memories and the nostalgia that comes with it. And so life then transformed, for me. I then arrived, I started playing in big stages and I was now, could talk to guys who I used to see on TV only. And now they were like, hey, Bekezela, man. Hey, come man, hey, man, Bekezela, hey, voice man. And then we became best friends with Ntando, like best tight. He became a brother that I never had. And he would always say, Ntwana, one day you'll be the one to pick me up. And I miss you, brother. I miss you so much. So I'm still, we're still tight. We even did a song together called Amanzi, which gave me a Bulawayo. Was that a Bulawayo? No. It was a Skies Metro FM Best Afro Soul Song of the Year. It was called Amanzi. And then, then I became Bekezela,
All right, so talking about you being signed by Muthaland Records, also known as Ghetto Ruff.
Yeah.
Didn't you have that fear of Stehr at some point had a bad reputation, Ghetto Ruff had a bad reputation of scamming artists with people such as Zola 7, they said things that they said and stuff like that. Didn't you have that fear of saying, maybe these guys will just give me like maybe 10K and they'll sell my album for like 2 million rands and that's it?
Well, I didn't care. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into, and I'll tell you why. Because I tried to hustle. So the industry is very closed. If you are not coming in through any of those guys, you're not. I tried it with a big song. I mean, when they finally broke my song, Kai FM laughed and said, this guy has been knocking on our doors. They imagine the pain. When now it was played, from a cell phone because it was coming from Muthaland. But I had been there with an album and it was ignored. So I had tried whatever that I tried. And I knew that now it was me putting growing my network. And you said in the beginning that your network is actually your net worth.
Yes.
So all what I was buying that in exchange of whatever that they were going to do. Obviously, this is a story for another day because it can be very long if I have to explain to you the mechanics and the operations of the a record label, how they work and why artists would say they are cheated and whatnot and all of those things, and some of them being true, some of them being very true. But for me, Stehr became like a godfather, you understand, and he grew my name. So all I wanted was that he built my name, and that's what he did. So after 3 years, I remained with Bekezela. I have been stopped even by police sometimes, going above the speed limit. And I'm like, man, I'm going to a show. Like, at one point I was going to Ntando in Polygamy Road there, and the police just dives onto the road and, tells us to park on the side of the road. And so we parked just a further, a few meters away, and he came, dancing, and he was like, Bekezela, So, it becomes lenient. So my name right now alone is a trademark that I can transact actually with. I can even buy bread with the name Bekezela. I can actually buy a farm. I can sit. I've sat with heads of states. I've dined with presidents. I've met influential people. So that is what I needed. I wanted to have that name that even when the millions are gone, I still have a net worth that will actually sustain me for life. So yeah, I knew a lot of those things. I think I was a bit skeptical, first, because someone did suggest that let's go and freelance, but after working as a waiter, now I decided, so then I just dived in, and I'm glad I did that.
Yeah. All right. So you have grown to be your own record label now, an independent artist owning his own record label, Bekezela Music.
Yeah, well, I think the trauma of record labels, so I wouldn't say I have a record label, but my company, yes, Bekezela Music, is now expanding into building other brands as well and other artists. So I'm building this catalog, and I'm working on a movement that at the end of the day will be synonymous with the brand Bekezela, with the same quality that I learned, the same output that I've always worked with, now wrapping it off to other artists that are still growing up. But then I've also launched my multimedia company called Creative Space, media for successful people. So that is where I'm going to be really, really working on the mystery behind the poverty of the artists, even though they are talented. Okay. Why are they not, why are they dying paupers? What's really happening? Why are they unfairly exploited? So I noticed that is the gap that I need to bridge right now. And well, as God would have it, what I studied at art school was actually creative arts communications and multimedia. As a sound major, I never studied music. I never studied performance. Those came because I was really talented, and it was in me. It was part of my, journey. But my purpose has always been to be a teacher, and always been to be that bridge between, that. So now this is what Creative Space will be doing. Consulting, publishing. It will be doing artist management, as well, and doing a whole lot of promotion and events as well.
So you'll be based in South Africa or in Botswana, since you...
Well, there's no doubt that South Africa is the biggest, second largest market in Africa, after Nigeria. Yeah. So obviously, and having stayed in South Africa for 10 years, I think it's now very imperative for me to step outside the boundaries of South Africa and find new talent and new virgin land where I can grow these amazing artists and then go back to SA to trade. So yes, I think Botswana will be my first stop, really, because it's a beautiful jungle that I fall in love. Well, you better utilize this opportunity. You better utilize this space, really.
All right. If you can tell us, what are you doing in Botswana? Because some people are starting to speculate that maybe you came here to collaborate with some artists. A few weeks ago, you were seen performing with Tsepoli Sole. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just...
Okay, I think the rumors are really true and the speculation is really true, because so I was, one day I was on Facebook, and I saw Kalangas going crazy. Kalangas that I know, Zimbabwean Kalangas in the UK, being proud that we've never had Sikalaka being sang so beautifully, this guy who is this guy, and Gitala Elilizi.
Wow. Yeah.
And he did a beautiful song called Malebeshwa Untu Wangu. And I was like, this guy is really, really, really amazing and awesome. I need to track him down. I remember writing to one of the boys, on Facebook who plays keys for him. These are the boys that grew up under my nose. I mean, I was mentoring them at Amakosi there, Hospital. And he was like, I'll ask him first. I'm like, dude, I'm Bekezela. Just say Bekezela needs your numbers. And I was really pissed at him. Really, I've never told you this spirit, but I was really pissed of it. I didn't even told Zibo when we met that Ghana could have gotten your numbers a long time ago. But But anyway, as fate would have it. So I then, my first project after Muthaland was a song called Uluju. But it's a distribution deal with an international company called Zik Media, the ones who are pushing our diamond platinums and stuff. Yeah. So we are working on a 7-track EP. So I've done my first song Uluju, which is already sitting on 100k views on YouTube, and it set on 100k views in 7 days. So it was quite really amazing and promising. I mean, and I did a launch of the multimedia company as well on my birthday, 6th December of 2020. And it was a success. So my second song, so the reason why I did Uluju was because the first song that I wanted to take out was a deep gospel song called Umtiko. Yeah. And so when we were talking about it with Berita, it was supposed to feature Zahara and Berita. And when I were talking about it, Berita was like, if you take it now at the end of the year, it was around September there. It's like radio stations are now pushing up-tempo songs for the song of the year and ingoma ezohlukanisa unyaka, so it won't be given attention. So that's why I did Uluju. Uluju is more of a playful song, ingoma yokushela, you know. And I went back to the days before WhatsApp, before Facebook, before social media, where you would go and look for the girl umthayimele lapha emfuleni and be like, "Dudu ntombi, zobohla amanyosi, zalabantu, ziyabantwini, awu ngithi vuma ntombi ngizithike, ngithi vuma ntombi nami ngicinde njengabanye, wathi ngizimisele ukuzishaya ziphelele inkomo zamalobolo, oh ngithi umuke wawenqa lo mzila, usumo wami wentombi, vuma." You know, and so you know, it was now a dance song. So it's like, you know what, Bekezela music is now a movement. It's no longer going to be confined to Afro soul, Afro jazz. Now I'm telling the story as I experience what is going on. The world is changing. We're going into a digital world now. We've gone up tempo and all of those things. So then I did Uluju just to show the versatility of the brand Bekezela, but also to buy time, you know, so that when I work on my second single, because that is the song that will change, you know, the face of Bekezela music and break boundaries and all of that. So I'm not saying my friend Zahara ditched you or Berita, even though you guys took your time, but you bought me enough time to really consider actually working with Botswana artist, which is Zibo and Ntando Solo. They are going to be featured on the song Umtiko that is going to drop at the end of March. And I'm here in Botswana as well to actually, you know, conscientize them about the gift that they have and their great music and how it can be taken beyond the Botswana borders, really. And I see everyone, most of the artists in Botswana taking pride in South Africa and shooting videos in South Africa. And I'm like, Umtiko is going to be shot here in Botswana, in all of the most precious tourism sites of Botswana. You know, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but if there's anyone who's going to see this information and has influence with the Department of Tourism or Arts and Culture or something with corporate space, and they want to really see this dream. So it's not just about the individuals, Tshepo Sole, Zibo, Bekezela. I want it to be a Botswana pride. So for me, it's a task that I've taken upon myself to actually showcase the beauty of Botswana. So I've been coming to Botswana since 2012, and people don't know that. I've been coming in and out silently, so I enjoy the landscapes. I've performed in Maun, I've performed in Gaborone some 2 years ago, headlining the year-end event. I've done the Hamptons Jazz Festival before I even had a name. You know, so I've fallen in love with Botswana and the talent that is here. And it always pains me to see people leaving their roots and their culture and just buying, you know, foreign, you know, cultures. You will never beat South Africans in Kwaito and Mapiano because it's their culture, it's their street culture. You can never beat Congolese in Rumba. It's their culture, it's them. But no one can beat you in Sitapa. No one can beat you, you know, in this in your traditional, you know, dances and traditional languages and what God really gave you as a gift. So this is an opportunity really for me to come and conscientize Botswana. So if they allow me, if you allow me, Botswana, I've got a lot that I will share with you.
I'm sure a lot of cats will be like interested in working with you. So for those, like, I know there's some who definitely want to jump in, like, and work with you. Like, how can they get in touch with you? Or how is their procedure? Do you have a manager in Botswana or something?
I'm trying to actually find a manager, and so here's an opportunity to become even my manager. So the first team that I'm building is actually the behind the scenes team, the technical team behind an artist. That is your road manager, that is your general, manager, logistics. I'm looking for, even multimedia guys, camera guys, graphic designers, the engine behind, making an artist and making a movement. So that's where I'm starting. So Creative Space will actually be doing, I intend on doing a training, for those students who really, really, really be keen and hungry to learn, because the pace in South Africa is very vicious and very fast, and it's a dog-eat-dog out there. And so we'll be teaching and training them with that vigor, so that when they get to SA, they don't drown. They really, really, really get to work hard. So in the near future, I then plan to cultivate and harvest the talent here, then export it to the world via the South African market and Nigerian markets, and then subsequently to the world, out there. But for now, I'll be taking out information on my social media page, which is Bekezela, and then on Instagram at Bekezela Music, and on Twitter as well, it's at Bekezela Music. If you want to email, just email info.creativespacemedia@gmail.com. info.creativespacemedia@gmail.com for now, and then you'll get more information as to how you can come in. But I've already found a student in Limco who is amazing. I think she's got that potential, and her name is Muthaland. So I'm going to be pushing a lot. So if you want more information, just go and search for Muthaland, and she will be your plug as to how to access Bekezela.
All right. So you've grown to become now a celebrity. A celebrity. So a soulful celebrity, soulful musician who's a celebrity, who goes to perform in places like everywhere across the world. So how do you handle the fame, especially with the women? I know we know women tend to throw themselves on brothers.
They don't throw themselves at me. Where are you, women? They don't throw themselves at me. But I think, hey, it's a choice that you make, as a person, really. I think what always helps me is that I grew up a very introverted, person. So I'm only loud and energetic and vigorous on stage. But when I get off stage, first thing I want is my hotel room. I don't even go out to drink with guys. So I think that's where women miss me, because they won't even find me in those places. After a performance, straight to my hotel room, and I'm out. And I just love my space and my quiet time, and to reflect on a good performance that I would have had. So that's what I think there's always been, saving me, from making the wrong choices and meeting the wrong people, out there. But I'm a very loving person, women. I love women. All my songs speak about women. And I think maybe there's always that intimidation. So it's not, the perception out there is that when you are celebrated, it's easy for people to approach you. Actually, it's more harder. It's much harder, because people are not sure how you're going to treat them. Maybe they are going to ask a picture and get embarrassed. So people are really afraid, So when they see you, they always, whispering in corners. I've gone to events where I'll spend the entire event, people with no one coming in to say hi. And then one person is brave enough to say, can I take a picture? All of a sudden there's a queue. And 2 hours later, I'm sweating and I've taken thousands of photos. I'm like, where were you people? What were you afraid of? You understand? So I think that always keeps the distance. To answer your question, it's not as easy as, he's celebrated, let's jump on him and eat him up. Actually, they are afraid, much more afraid, to come through to me. And what do I do? I'm like, okay, the worthy will break the barrier and the boundary and come to me. But if you are scared, then good riddance.
All right, talking of women, you're in Ndebele men. a tribe which falls under the Nguni kingdom.
Absolutely.
And which falls under the Nguni.
Yeah,
so polygamy is one practice which is well common in our culture. So what's your take on polygamy, especially in the 21st century, looking at the fact that we're living in tough times?
Well, first and foremost, there are more women than men now, so one man has to have 3 women to balance the ratio in the population of the world. But look, I mean, relationships, dating, marriage, courtship, it has changed. The way it was done back in the days and the way it's done today. People are no longer committing, they are no longer settling down. People are just going about through life and just enjoying through life, and just maybe that's because we are now in the 21st century and in a digital world. So for me, it's difficult to answer that question of polygamy, because the whole marriage, dynamic has been distorted already. It's been distorted really. It's very hard to find people sustaining in marriages and staying in marriages. And again, back in the days, women were abused. I mean, they were told you must bear children, and be a housewife. Now women, especially more Botswana, hey, I see women driving amazing cars here. It means they're owning their own thing now, and so you can't tell them sit down and take after the kids. So it's a different dynamic now altogether.
Yeah, but if given a chance, would you have 2, 3, 4, if not 5 wives?
Yo, I think it's strenuous, yo. No, I think really it's strenuous. I'm saying in the world that we live in now, in today's world. I mean, look at kids. Having kids is so much expensive. Taking them through school and all of these things, and the energy. I mean, I don't think I would cope. Maybe if I'm now 60 or 70 and I've amassed my wealth and put it in one place, and now I've got my farm and my farmhouse, then I can build another house there, and then 2 kilometers away, the second wife there, then 3 kilometers. I won't stay with them, hey. I'll have my own quarters, and then they'll have their own houses and cars and kids and things, and then I'll be visiting them when I want to, and then that is just the ideology, that is in my head if I was to get into a polygamy.
Hey, Bekezela, man, if time permitted, we would do this for hours and hours, bro. We know time is not on our side, because time is money and yours is expensive. In closing, man, what can you say to all the Bekezela music lovers out there?
Man, Bekezela hasn't even scratched the surface, I think all my 10, 11, 12 years, professionally in the game, I considered myself still in school, I was still in training, you understand? So what you had is just the tip of an iceberg. Now we are going in full force to really, really explore and tell the African stories, because I'm a storyteller. So just, brace yourselves for great, great, great stories that are coming and that are going to be told through music around Africa. My intention is to actually export our African talents into the world, our African cultures and our African dialects into the world at large through this music. So music lovers, Bekezela music fans, Bekezela music lovers, you are in for a great treat.
You heard him. In his country, they call him the new school of Mama Chaiva. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 20th Avenue podcast, the number 1 podcast in Botswana. It's your favorite podcast, Tumisani Ncube. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Press click, share it with your friends, family, and your side girlfriends and everyone else out there. Follow us on Twitter at the 20th Avenue podcast. Follow us on Facebook. It's 20th Avenue Podcast. On Instagram rather, at 20th Avenue Podcast. It's a wrap.